Okay, so now I'm just going to do a collective read. A collective reading for anything anyone needs to know. I'm probably not going to add it with the previous reading that I did, so this is just going to be separate. Okay, so what does the collective need to know right now, this very given moment? All right, this heart beats for you all over the world. Yeah, this is my Divine Union card. So this is a love card, yes. Give me two more and I'll explain, guys. Sorry. You can't possibly tell me you love this person. This is upright. This is a decision maker. Whoever this decision maker is married, right? And one more card before we get into the breakdown of this. What you saw needs to be talked about. There is trauma residing in your body because you need to speak up. No, that is reversed. You know, lately this card has been coming up reversed a lot, which I gotta say, I'm so glad because, you know. All right, so healing has happened, right? This heart beats for you all over the world, and I wanted to say somebody loves you. You're dwelling in the thoughts of somebody's third eye. Okay, so it's like I'm not even gonna sing that song again. That song keeps coming up. Okay, so it's like a higher form of love. Someone loves you. So you have somebody that loves you, and then maybe you have somebody telling this person that loves you, you can't possibly tell me you love this person. Like, you can't possibly, like, what? Like, really? Seriously? What is it about this person, right? And then really what's happening is you can love someone, right? You can be in love with someone and really be in love with them. And then you can genuinely love someone, right? And I'll give an example of that. Because I feel like whoever this is, I'm going to speak from the perspective of, okay, from the outside looking in, and not so much like this is you, but this is what you're inquiring about. Okay, collective? So what you saw needs to be talked about. There is trauma residing in your body because you need to speak up. That's reversed. So that means you spoke up, right? You spoke up about something that happened to you. It could be to a group of people, or you were able to speak to your body, right? Or you allowed somebody to speak to their body from a sense of, hey, I want us to heal. So let's talk about this. Let's bring everything we need to the surface. And I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to listen. And you tell me what's wrong, right? And your body responded in a way where, like, it's not like it was before. Like before it was just like, the body can take the pain, the body can endure, the body is just, it's built for that. You know what I mean? But it's your body, right? Your body is listening. So you have allowed this person to change the way they see their body and the way they talk to their body, right? And so when I say you can be in love with someone and you can love someone, the example that I got was, I went to Las Vegas, right? I went to Las Vegas when I was in my 20s. I think it was like 25, 26, but I went to Vegas, right? And the only reason I went to Vegas is because my best friend at the time, she had a gymnastics competition. So she was like, hey, do you want to come? And I was just like, yeah, I'll come. So we went. And the very first time in my life, I met her gymnastics team. But there was someone else that she introduced me to. And he worked for the UN as a international interpreter. Okay, and so collective, I never met this man a day in my life. I just know when me, my best friend, and this guy, when we were together, there was like this soul recognition, like, we're finally together, right? It just felt like that. And I was in Vegas for the week. It felt like that for the whole week. You could not separate the three of us. Not because there weren't a whole bunch of other cool people on the gymnastics team, but it's just us in particular. You could not separate us, right? It's like we always wanted to go where the other one was going. So anywho, we stayed at the Luxor, and as we were like going throughout the week, the bond between the three of us just got stronger and stronger and stronger. You think it's like all right, this first day Vegas, yeah, da da da. No, and we weren't even doing anything that was like considered like, wow, that's so great. Like, all we were doing was I was just attending their practices. After practice, we would hang out, we'd go different places, we'd explore, right? That's it. It was just like we weren't gambling, but which is surprising to me because like none of us touched a slot not once. So we weren't gambling. Well, I did though. I pulled in and we all decided we were gonna run. But anywho, we weren't doing anything that was just like yeah, we're gonna want to hang out, we're gonna want to, no, we just, it's just that natural closeness. So I feel like you're either experiencing that or you're about to experience in a way where it's just like you're gonna meet somebody or you're gonna meet a group of people and it's just the way you're gonna click, right? It's like, no, I have a, I know you, right? Your higher selves are probably already talking, you know, probably like, oh, hey, huh, finally found you. Yeah, I found you too, right? But on a physical level, it appears like, wow, why is it I'm so gravitated towards this person? Or I just want to like hang out with this person. I want to be friends with this person, right? It's because like, it's the connection. It's like an unforeseeable energetic pull or connection you have towards that person because you recognize each other, but you're recognizing each other on a soul level, okay? Like on a higher state of consciousness, on that kind of level. All right. So this heart beats for you all over the world. So under this card, the decision maker card came out. It says, I hate when we fight. Let's make this right again. So you have somebody, a single decision maker that's looking at you. Maybe you had a disagreement with this person and they're just like, they want to make amends. Somebody wants to make amends with you. Element of soul required. Yeah. So, and then going back to it, I don't know if you've ever seen Modern Love, but what I'm getting here is in regards to, like, for someone in particular, right? This is not going to resonate with everybody. So this is why a lot of readers tell you to take what resonates and just leave the rest alone, you know? So, but there's an episode of Modern Love. There's two stories that I'm getting. There was one story where there was a woman who was living in this space in Manhattan. New York could be very significant for you, okay? This lady was living in a space in Manhattan and she had a doorman, right? And the doorman loved this woman. He was very protective of her. He would approve and disapprove of guys. Like, he was very, like, he loved her very much. But he was not in love with her, right? So she mistook the idea of, oh, he's always looking out for me. He's always protecting me. He's always making sure I'm okay. X, Y, Z. He must love me. She wasn't wrong. He did love her. He just wasn't in love with her, okay? So having to distinguish or separate the definition of what it means to love a person. You can love a person. You can love the way they work. You can love the way they operate. You can love the way they look. Doesn't mean you have to be in love with them. So there is somebody that has inquired about you, and let's say they have an associate. This associate is looking at them from a standpoint of, you can't possibly tell me you love this person, right? But it's like, what is this associate's definition of love? Because they're seeing love in a sense of, you can't possibly tell me you're in love. So this person, whoever this decision maker is, but the fact that this is a divine union card, somebody knows that they are your divine counterpart, right? And it's like, you can't tell me you love this person. It's just like, yeah, no, I don't love this person. I'm in love with them. Or you're right, I'm not in love with them, but yes, I do love this person, right? So, and then the second story that I got was, I think it was one of the last episodes, but it was a woman who, it was an interracial couple that had kids, and they dated each other from the time they were like younger, right? And so they separated, but then they always had like the children, right? They were co-parenting, right? And so even though they weren't together, so then there came a point in time where he just thought about it, and he was just like, what if I could just rekindle like this love that I have with my former, wife, and I can just rekindle it. We could be a family again, X, Y, and Z. So pretty much what happens is, she doesn't mind the idea, but the timing was off because he took them to a restaurant, and he was going to propose, right? So he told the waiter, but that was also the same day that she found out she had breast cancer, if I'm not mistaken. And so she sat down. She was just like, yeah, I just discovered that I had, this. And then he was like, oh no. And it was already coming, right? So, right as she was saying, like, what was happening, a couple moments later, the winner comes with dessert and the ring. And then it was like a completely awkward moment. But anywho, so she turned down the proposal, okay? Because she had so much going on and she was just worried. She had a health scare and she was like, it's the timing's not right. And he was like, yeah, no, I get it. But he was supportive, like through and through. Now, it got to a point where everything was fine. They were able to get the cancer cells out and what have you. And she's reflecting back to a time like, she knows that it has always been him. Okay. And so there's a moment where she indicates to him, like, you know, like if, I would have said yes, right, to the proposal. It's like I would have said yes, but so much was going on. And he understood. And he was like, well, don't worry. There'll be many more proposals. It's like, there'll be more. And then, so they ended it like that. So it's like they were together, had kids, lived life, separated, then got back together, right? But the way that they put it on the show, it was such a beautiful love story. So I feel like whoever this is for, you have such a beautiful love story. And maybe you've known this person for a very long time. And maybe for others, you have not known this person for a very long time, right? But there's something very, like, I want to say magical about this, right? So let's see. Element of soul required. Whoa, too many cards. Way too many. Way too many cards. Element of soul required. Oh my gosh, look, guys. The card that came out was God has expanded their lifespan so they can stay and love you a little longer. Another decision maker card that came out. And this decision maker card is a representation of single, right? Whoever this decision maker is, they're single. You have two of them out here, right? Now you have one that's like, I hate when we fight. Can we make this right again? And you have another one who, on a soul level, it's like, do you know how inspiring love has to be for God, source, to just say, you know what? I'm going to give you a little while longer so this way you can love this person. Like in modern love, right? It's just like the cancer cells could have taken her out, but they didn't. And not only did she recover, but all of them are gone, right? And it's just like a proposal was waiting for her after that. So, I'm trying to make sure that I have this under a certain amount of time because I don't want this to go into like an hour or something, So where does this need to go? Okay, so for this decision maker card that came out, where God has expanded this person's lifetime so they can stay and love you a little longer, it says the clarifier for this is you are your only prison. Gently open the door and set yourself free. Okay, so I wish I could think. Don't worry, guys. I'll get a stand. One day I'll get a stand so you can see the cards exactly how I'm seeing them, okay? But this decision maker card, right? This is a representation of somebody who is single. They want to extend that love to you on a soul level, on a soulful level. Somebody loves your soul. Somebody can see your soul and they love it, okay? This person is in love with who you are on a soul level. Now, this person is also thinking that they have a lot of prior engagements. 1, 2, 3. So I see 3 engagements here. United Kingdom or UK could be significant, but there's a lot of prior engagements. There's a lot of like traveling involved. Will you be able to speak the same language, right? And not so much language in a sense of they speak English, you speak Japanese, but from a sense of will you be able to understand the love language the both of you are putting out, okay? So set yourself free. You're your only prison. Somebody is TPA. I don't know why TPA or tap is significant, but somebody could be a musician here. And there's something about harmonization, because the card that came out was the universal love card, and it says you control my tempo, you can run my show, musician and love. Something is like music. There's something that's music to this person's ears, like, okay, like maybe your voice, Your voice could be music to this person's ears. It's like, oh, music to my ears, right? There's like a perfect harmony. Or maybe the reason why this person can either love you or be in love with you is because you emit, like when you speak, right? Or when you have a conversation with this person, you emit a certain frequency that allows them to open up into like deeper levels of frequencies within themselves. And so they're bringing it out, but it's coming out like music. And it's making me think about the guy that pays attention to the sounds of nature. Now, there was one video this guy did where he put like a special sound. Um, I wanted to say sound picker upper, guys. Okay, sorry, but he put a certain gadget, right, to where you can tune in to the sound of the tree, and I kid you not, it sounded like that tree was singing. And not only was the tree singing, but when I heard this sound for the first time, my whole body just started to vibrate and just like raise and get chills all over the place within a matter of seconds, right? And then I thought to myself, oh my gosh, that guy here sounds like that on a day to day basis. Could you imagine his vibration? But, anywho, there's something about sound. Your sound can maybe lift the vibration of another person just by you speaking, okay? And so, what is it you want to know? Because I feel like this is so beautiful. I could go into this all day, but you control my tempo. You control my tempo. And then there's something about keeping time. You have to keep time to the music, right? So keeping time to the beat of something. Maybe you keep time to the beat of your heart. You could be testing this out. Like you could be doing like a personal observation. Like, okay, I know when this person speaks, my heart beats at like 60 miles per, 60 miles per minute, right? 60. Sorry, guys, 60 miles. It's a 60 miles per hour. Okay, but my heart rate is at a level of 60, right? But when this person speaks, my heart rate is at a level of 80. So it feels like that. It's like you're paying attention to how your heart is responding to certain people, notions, feelings. Like you're paying attention to everything, right? So always be compassionate to the ones that have spiritual blood on their hands. No amount of soap can wipe off. Okay, so what you have to know, collective, is that you have set a particular musician free from what feels like a very not so nice past, okay? But you have done this gently. You didn't do it from a space of, oh, tough love for tough cookies, right? You didn't do it from that space. You did it from a space of, okay, I'm going to speak to you on a soul level because I know that you need help, and I'm going to help you to the best of my ability, and I'm going to do it from a standpoint of I'm not going to judge you, but I'm going to let you know it's okay if you want to just release this, right? Release this anger or this guilt. So you help somebody you help a musician to release their inner anger and letting something go. And then I saw, like, on Instagram, there were two monks, right? And so the monk that was a student was asking the master, which, I kind of feel like it was low-key AI based, but I love the message all the same. But okay, we'll go with it. So the monk was asking the master, how do you release anger, right? It's just like, he said, why is it that I get so angry so quick? Okay. And then, so the master makes him hold a cup of water. And then he's like, well, hold this water. And so the master goes, he walks away, right? And the monk is still holding the water. And so it gets to the point, the monk's arm starts to shake, right? And so he goes, this is heavy. And then the master tells him, the cup's not heavy, right? It's just your arm is tired of holding it. And so pretty much what he was saying is you have to let go of an anger, because what's going to happen is if you hold on to that anger, it's just going to build and build and build and build to the point you'll snap just because somebody said, oh, look at the clouds in the sky. What about the clouds? Like, you know what I mean? You don't want to get to that point. You don't want to get to that point. So you have allowed a musician to do this, and maybe they do this through music. Maybe they hear you speak and they're just like, they're inspired, like, I'm gonna create a song like this today. I'm gonna create a frequency like this, or I'm gonna make this kind of beat. I'm feeling like in this kind of mood. Like you've shifted something, right? And that's what you do as just naturally who you are. So now it's changing the perspective of, maybe it's like you can't possibly tell me you love this person. So now the associates of these people are like, oh, well, I can see why you like them. Right? I don't know about love, but I can see why you like them. So let's see. I'm going to move on to the next section. Okay. You can't possibly tell me you love this person. So what's out here? You are experiencing the love of a high-ranking earth angel. Don't anger them, right? We just spoke about anger. So this is somebody who's married. This decision maker is also married. They have a lot of engagements. This could also be somebody who says like let's say they come across this reading, right? They'll be like, yeah, tell me about myself, right? tell me who I am, right? So, I mean, I definitely know you're somebody that doesn't want to piss off an earth angel, you know. I know you don't want that type of smoke, but let's see. It's in the details. All right. So sun disk could be significant. And then I'm thinking about, you remember the recorders, the old school records back in the day? Not the, how do I put that? Like the company was called Sundisk, but it was like for the Walkman where you could put something in. This is dated. I'm like showing my age for sure. But you could put it in the Walkman. Yeah. Yeah, there's something in regards to that. Okay, so is this connected to the musician? No, it makes so much sense. All right. So the sun disc. So the card that came out was the God of Ra card, and it says it's in the details. So what's in the details here? This person could have like an ink. There's something about like Egyptian jewelry, or there's something about the Egyptian practices. Sun disk. This could be somebody that follows the religion of Akhenaten when he had the religion of the sun. It's in the details. Bismuth required for this alchemy mundane element. All right, so this is all right, so we have master alchemist, right? We have master alchemy here, which when you think about it, musicians are alchemists. Like when you really think about it, they can transmute anything. Okay, so let's see. What's in the details? Oh, another decision maker popped out. Time to back their attitude into a corner until they calm down. That's in reverse. Well, yeah, somebody's calm now. Okay. Let's see. And then the last section, guys, I didn't even want to go. Okay, great. I'm not going past 40 minutes. Okay. So last section is what you saw needs to be talked about, but that's in reverse. And the card that came out was the chess card. It says, this queen is on a rampage. Use that to your advantage. It's lucrative. Makes a statement. Apply pressure. Push buttons. Make a scene. They'll catch on. Checkmate. Upright. They'll catch on. This queen. Okay. And then you know what this makes me think about? You know how skilled a chess player has to be in order to play chess with somebody and put that person in checkmate, even with that opponent's queen still being on the board? Like, there's something about high level of skills here. Obstacles after obstacles, the only thing you can control is yourself. Yeah. And then I can also see this as somebody's upset that you healed, which uh, okay. Okay, so for a select few of you, if you're thinking about adding a luxury resort to your portfolio, yes, it's going to bring you huge profits. I don't know who needed to know that. The decision maker who has their lifeline expanded, right? Their lifeline has been expanded. So yes, if you invest in something, it's going to be lucrative. Okay, so talk about this Venus on a rampage. What's going on here? Amika's heart saves the hearts of the world. Okay, could be dealing with a mother figure. Mm, apply pressure. Amika's heart saves the hearts of the world. I think who you are it makes a statement about where you've come from. And I don't want to say where you've come from a sense of like, oh, you're past because you were born and raised here and now you're here. Like I don't mean it like that, guys. Like your level of strength or your level of intelligence says a lot about your lineage or the line of women that you come from. Okay. And so this makes a statement. Like if ever somebody wanted to know, what was your mom like in her prime, or what was your grandmother like in her prime? It's like they're looking at it, right? So like you are the representation of what your mom or what your grandmother or what your the women that came before you, what they looked like, right? You are the statement. And somebody knows this. You may not do everything that your this mother figure has done or this grandmother has done, but you're like the how do I put this? You're like the best of all parts of your family, like the women in your family line, right? So, for example, I have a grandmother on my mother's side that she was born and raised in St. Vincent, and she was not in the rich side of St. Vincent, but she started off in the area where they didn't have the money to have shoes. So, they were running in the street and dirt roads and they didn't have any shoes on, right? And so, but my grandmother came from that background and she was somebody who was self taught. So she taught herself to read and to write. And then she taught her 9 brothers and sisters how to read and write, right? And then she went from doing that to wanting to run a business. Of course, she had a lot of ups and downs because she was learning, right? And so, but she went from doing that to getting to the point where she had her own restaurant and she had her own bar in an international airport. Okay, so now she has my mom, right? My mom's not into, and my grandmother went from walking on the street on dirt roads, not being able to afford socks and shoes. So by the time she had my mom, she had her own seamstress, she had her own business, she lived very comfortable, right? And so my mom came into the picture. She put my mom in the best schools, right? She introduced my mom to like high level people, okay? And so my mom lived a comfortable life, but she did not want to do what my grandmother did in order to live a life of comfort. She didn't want the international bar. Um, you know, she didn't want the bar at the international airport. She didn't want to have the restaurant. She wanted to do her own thing. So she branched out in her own thing, came to New York, decided, hey, she really has a knack for computers and software, and so she started building on that. And so she was a software engineer. Okay, so she worked as a software. She started off like selling software, and even to the point it was just like, well, there was a point in time where she told me, she was like, I sold software to Bill Gates before Bill Gates became Bill Gates. I'm like, no way, right? But anywho, it is true. So this happens, right? She decides she's gonna go into computers. She likes just she just likes that. Like she likes that aspect. And she got to the point where she liked it so much and she had done everything. So, like she had created these softwares and done these things. I was just like, oh, stuff is easy, right? And my mom is the type of, or was the type of person where she needed a lot of mental stimulation or she was going to get bored very quick. So, okay, boom, I come into the picture. I'm not into computers. I'm not into software engineering. I like baking, but I don't want to run a restaurant like my grandmother. But it's just the example of, what does this line of women, what do they look like? And it's just like you're getting the representation generations down the line, right? And so somebody wants to know, like, if ever somebody is inquiring, I wonder like how your mom must have been. It's like they're looking at it. It's like I wonder how your grandmother must have been. They're looking at it like you are the representation of them, but the best parts of them collective. Okay, I don't know why I had to say it like that, but okay. And it's like I'm not into those things, right? Kind of, but I'm not into those things the way they were into it, right? Like my grandmother loved food. My mom loved computers. She loved software, right? It's kind of like, what do I love to do? I like to see things. I like to explore. I like to just, I'm still figuring it out. But there's a lot of things that I like to do. But do I have a niche? Yeah, but having that idea, I really like I I don't study it, but I really like observing planets, galaxies, learning about like just little knickknacks, informations. Like, I really like doing that, but not on a level to where it's like you're gonna see me at NASA, right? But it's just everything in one. I have so many interests and hobbies, but I haven't picked one particular one yet. This I like. I like readings. I like doing readings, and I like telling stories. Okay, so obstacle after obstacle, the only thing you can control is yourself. Okay, they will be left behind. They couldn't see your worth. It's too late if they do now. Okay, so you're dealing, okay, aside from this, from your lineage, where you come from, right? You're dealing with somebody who, it's like all obstacles are removed. And it's like the person who wanted to create those obstacles for you, or the person who thought that you weren't gonna be as good as somebody. Because I'm seeing this like, well, you're not as in like you're not as good as your mom at this, or you're not as good as your grandmother at this, or something like that. You're not meant to be. It's like you're meant to have your own thing. You're meant to have that. When hypothetically speaking, should you have kids, it's like you're coming from a line of, oh, okay, well, my great grandmother did this, my grandmother did this, my mom does that, and I am the representation of, like, but you'll find it. You'll find it, collective, if you haven't already, you know? Yeah. I kind of feel like this is a group of people that's like, you have the people who have already made history that know that the next lineup that's going to make history, and you have another group of people that don't know how they're going to make history, but it's just like they know they're going to be impactful in such a way, but they're not thinking from a sense of, oh man, this will change history forever kind of thing. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to close out this reading because, oh my gosh, 40 minutes. I said I did not want to go past 40 minutes. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to make this a Thanksgiving read. Thank you for listening. And so I can give you everything you've been missing. You just have to trust me, let me in, and trust me, please. That's my Nefertiti card that came out upright, right, for the first section. Okay. So you have a bunch of decision makers. You have like high profile people that's just like, look, I can help you. Okay. I can help you. You just gotta trust it. There's something about trust in your capabilities, collective, trust in what it is that you're doing. Even if you don't know exactly the next step you're supposed to take, just trust it, okay? This all panned out it all pans out in the end, right? But I don't want you to see the end as, oh, years from now, months from now, it pans out. Like, no, it all pans out in the end, but you have to know that you're living in the end. I feel like I'm talking to somebody who watches Neville Goddard. Like, Guys, you don't know. That's my spiritual sugar daddy. He has given me so much. He has given me so much insight. Like, man, and he's like one of the wealthiest people I know. Wealthiest ascended masters I know. But yes. So you could be somebody that likes to watch Neville Goddard. I love Neville Goddard. I think he was just so, it's the way he talks, right? He talks to you like he's just, and very seldom you'll come across people like that. Like they talk to you like they're speaking directly to you no matter what. No matter what they're talking about. Like, man, so impactful. Okay, anywho, middle section. What we got here? So we have new team, new spouse, new life, everything new, clean slate, and history dates. What did I say, guys? Come on. Look at this. You're going to make history. You're going to make so much history. Like, wow. I remember, like, and I mentioned it one time in one of the previous readings that we did. I remember when I was, like, in one of the last conscious moments. Let me stop shuffling these cards because I don't want that energy being put in. But one of the last conscious moments that I had with my mom before her memory just, like, left was, there was a moment she was in the living room, and I say this because, like, the timing of it, but she was in the living room watching TV, and I was in the restroom. And so we were having a conversation. There was something we were exchanging with each other. And she said, "Oh man, Sam, you're gonna impact so many people, right?" And then she just stopped. And so there's something about that. Like, I feel like I should tell you, like, the way you're gonna have such a pivotal role in history. Like, you think it's just a certain amount of people. You think it's just a certain group. But it's so many people. Just think about that one person, right? That one life you change. You changed for the better. And that one life impacts another life. And that other life impacts another life. And you just keep going down the line. You just think, okay, it's just that one person. But it's the circulation, right, of humanity you're impacting. You don't realize it. It's like, how they say, oh, if you want to impact, if you want $1 million, you have to impact 1 million people. You can impact 1 million people just by helping one person. You want an example? I'll give you an example. Let's say, for instance, going off the board, right? I say board, but the deck of cards. Going off of what I'm seeing on the cards, right? Now, whoever this person was that helped this musician, right? You helped this musician. Now this musician is like, you know what? I'm feeling inspired. I'm going to make a beat. I'm going to make a beat that just uplifts humanity, right? Think about all the millions of people that musician has listening to them, thinking, whoa, what an amazing beat. And it all started with you speaking and you helping that person, right? So something is shifting for you. Your idea of the level of work, or the level of the body of work you thought you had to produce in order to have a monumental impact on the world is changing, which, thank goodness, right? So one more card. If I wasn't who I am, would you still love me? Can you accept my dark past? Could you accept what the line of women, or, well, the queen is on a rampage, right? But can you accept what the line of women not only came from, but the things they had to do to make sure that the generations to come do not have to suffer anymore, right? So it's like, you think about what it took. Like, what did it take for your grandmother to, and I'm not going to use me as an example anymore, but just look at it from a lineage standpoint, right? Even if you don't have a close relationship with family, but let's say from a spiritual standpoint, right? Could you imagine, like, what your grandmother had to do in order to move forward and raise your mom to be a particular person? What your mom had to do to raise you to be a particular person, right? What the decisions you have made that maybe you're not so proud of, that is gonna allow you to raise your child, or have your children's children raised a certain way, a particular way, right? It takes a level of, you know what? Yeah, I had to do this, but I would not change it, right? And then using that as an example, like, I would not change my grandmother just wanting to be able to have her own seamstress and her own line of cooks and her own, because she made the conscious decision that she didn't want to be poor. She made the conscious decision that she didn't want to go hungry ever again, right? And I can tell that was definitely a trauma for her growing up, because whenever we did not have food, there was not ever a time my grandmother made somebody go hungry. And there was not ever a time where there wasn't a family in need that came to her that was hungry and she didn't feed them, right? Because she knew what that feeling was like. But I'm pretty sure she would not take away from the nights that she had to go without eating, because it led her to be exactly who she became. Now, same thing with my mom, right? She wasn't into the whole cooking thing. I mean, she liked the lifestyle of comfort and, oh, yeah, I could eat, whatever I want. I can, amongst the. But that wasn't her thing. It wasn't, like, politics was not really her thing. Computers was, though. She loved computers. Like, that woman loved computers. I still remember that first IBM computer, that big clunky computer we had at home. Oh my gosh, but she was so fascinated with it. But and she raised me, but I couldn't see the allure that she saw. You know what I mean? And so just when you get to the point you're making particular decisions in order to establish, hey, yes, I had to do this, but I did this so my kid did not have to, or I did this so that my family would not have to suffer, right? You get to that point, like even in those moments, you have to make certain decisions that are not favorable. You know what you're doing it for. You're doing it for the greater good of your family and ultimately the generations, not just for your family, but for other people, right? So your family can impact other people. And the cycle continues, but in a beautiful way, right? And I'm just going to give you one more card because I'm definitely not going to 60 minutes, guys. Come on, 2 more minutes. One more card. Well, so we have legends and icon alert. That's what you are, collective. Everybody's a legend. Everybody's an icon in their own way, Come on. All right, that's your reading.